WYSIWYG, coming to you from Backlighting, New Jersey, New York. How are you? Yeah, I am on the other side of the country this week to do a couple webinars. Not here just for the webinars. That's just not, we don't fly across the country just to do webinars. But because of this, we have the pleasure that I'm joined today by my colleague, Ryan Cannerick.
Yo!
And I guess you already know that we've been on a little hiatus for a while from webinars because we've had a busy month per se. Well, I guess it was really last month was busy, hanging out at LDI in Las Vegas. So I hope many of you had a chance to join us there and say hi. I imagine you probably got a little overview of the new version 3.2.
Ooh!
yeah. Ryan's very excited about it, as you can tell. So today we are not diving into the actual setup necessarily of any of these new features. We're just gonna talk about it a little bit. Maybe I'll show you a couple things. We've got a lot of questions. That's good. So we'll try to answer those, and in particular, pay attention to the upcoming webinars. For example, on Thursday is when we're really going to dive into the actual bitmap effects and how those work. And if you don't have the registration link, there you go. I have just chatted it to you. So make sure you sign up for Thursday's webinar, same time, 11 a.m. West Coast time, 2 p.m. East Coast time, and we're just going to spend, I don't know, 15, 30 minutes just going over the new bitmap fixture, aka fixtures, which means you can have lots of bitmaps going on at the same time that reference your layout views. So let's get started. Ryan, what do you think?
Yeah, let's do it.
Just run through all these new kind of features that exist in 3.2. Guess how I'm going to do this? I'm going to read the release notes. I would encourage you all to check out the release notes. Where can you find those? Backlighting.com. Downloads 3.2.13 release notes. I've heard a lot of people go like, well, is it 3.2.1.3.32? No, it's 13. All right, so this is 3.2.2.13 that we're covering, which is the newest bug fix for version 3.2. We basically worked out all those kinks, so I hope you're taking a look. Very exciting implementation of RDM. We really went through the kind of full gamut of everything that you might need for RDM. The factory tested well over 50 fixtures to ensure that even if the fixtures are sending back bad data, it's not going to cripple your system. RDM, as you know, travels down that 5-pin DMX line, that serial line. The good news is that we ensure that it doesn't interfere with our DMX, so that's a good thing. However, the data does have to be intermixed in between those DMX packets. So that does mean that for the most part, RDM is not going to necessarily work through opto splitters. And I just noticed I have an app running that I don't want to have running. Yeah, it sounds kind of weird. It has to do with the timing. Opto splitters are splitting the signal, so keep that in mind. You have to, for RDM to work with the Grandom A2, you notice it has to be connected to a console. That also means NPUs, since they basically use the same software, hardware, etc. Then onPC command wing, fader wing, and any of the gigabit any of the gigabit nodes that we sell. So old NSPs in node mode or any of the old 100 megabit nodes won't work with RDM either. You have to have any of the Grandom A2 products. Okay. What does RDM do for you? It basically gives you fixture status, so you'd have to make sure to enable RDM in the global settings. You'll find this in your patch and fixture schedule. You have a new button on the bottom right called RDM devices. When you jump in here, you're going to see lots of things, you're going to see all the fixtures that are discovered that actually are sending RDM feedback. So for today, we just have one fixture connected. We can see it's Claypacky, Alita, and it's in standard mode. We can see bigger columns over here. So for example, standard mode, RDM universe. This is telling you that it has detected this fixture in a DMX port in the MA2 system that is assigned to universe 1. And the actual address that's being received from the fixture based on the side of the fixture. So you set the fixture to a number between 1 and 512. This is the number that the fixture is telling you it's set to. We've matched it all up so we could check out the RDM info. You could see the device is labeled, the actual mode that it's in, the device hours, the lamp hours, the strikes. This is an LED fixture, so of course the lamp state is off even though it's on. You can invert those settings. Now watch this. Oh, my room is going to get all crazy because I inverted the pan or tilt. You could do that. All those settings that you normally get on the side of the fixture are accessible from the software. Keep in mind, the fixture has to have this implemented nicely also. You could tap into sensor data. In particular, if we've reached a threshold, we get a little warning, which apparently the threshold I set up, we've passed that threshold. I had set up a little notification that says if the this is the fan sensor is less than a certain value. So if my fan were to slow down too much, I'd want to get a little warning. So let's see if it's with it set to below 6,000. I get the little warning symbol that says RDM. Message center tells me that fixture 501 has triggered a threshold setting to tell me there's something wrong with my fan sensor. Also, it's kind of nice in the fixture or layout view, you'd see a little RDM notification there, and in the fixture sheet, you would see a RDM notification there as well. So you get a lot of RDM info everywhere. And for you technicians, we even created an RDM window. So you could set up an onPC backstage or console backstage, draw the RDM window, get all kinds of information about what's going on with the fixture. Even have some filter rules here that only show you which one has an alert and a warning. And you can view just the parameters, just the sensors, or both. So it's a little bit some of the fundamentals of RDM that were put in there. Any RDM questions pop up quickly before I move on?
No, not yet.
Good. So there's lots of RDM info in the release notes. I'd urge you to read through those to learn more. Next big thing, Bitmap fixture engine. So we basically deleted all the existing Bitmap specs. Yeah, no, they were good, but definitely could use some improvement. So what that meant is that we just deleted all the old ones. That means if you're using bitmap effects in 3.1 or prior, and you want to go to 3.2, you will lose everything. You'll have to start again. But it'll be worth it because the bitmaps now are it's a bitmap fixture, which I've patched to 6.01. You can patch multiple fixtures. These are virtual fixtures built into the console software. And what happens is they reference a layout view. So I've set up a layout view here with the 100 by 100 LEDs, and I'm going to use my bitmap fixture to control them. So I selected my bitmap fixture. It has a dimmer channel, so I bring those to full. The bitmap fixture will reference a layout view, which in this case was layout number 3. So we will choose layout number 3. And the image I want to apply is image 3 from my image pools, from my image pool. So I apply that, and if we jump back here, you can see the little red outline from the actual image. Okay, so it's basically a 2D map in your layout view. How does it know where to apply that bitmap? It's doing it based on this box that I've drawn around these fixtures. So you draw a box around these fixtures. Remember, we're going to go into detailed setup about this on Thursday. I just want to show you what's possible. Additionally, you have ways to manipulate this image. So you can move it left and right. And if you watch my 3D, you will see that moving. So left, right, up, down, and then Z is closer to you, farther away from you. You're going to have rotation as well. And that would allow you to do, for example, continuous rotation just by putting like a ramp form on it. And you control the speed with that. Also, some of the other settings that exist, turn that off. It's easier to roll through these from the smart window, for example, so you could scale the image. You can even do tiled images, and if you were to reference video files, would you support the video files? Off the bat, VP8, VP9 are the open source codecs that you can use, and if you check that little license agreement when you first install the software, we even support other ones if needed. On Thursday, we'll go into more detail about what it means to reference presets, but just to give you an idea of that, imagine controlling pan tilt, where black means point downstage and white means point upstage, and now your bitmap dictates the movement. Or maybe you reference an all preset, which black will make it output color downstage right with dimmer information, and white would make it point somewhere else with a different color, etc. But you'll see this all on Thursday. Very powerful new stuff. You can have multiple bitmap effects. You have, obviously, already familiar with layouts. You have 10,000 layouts to choose from. So lots of layering kind of stuff that you can do there.
We do have one quick bitmap question. I don't know if you want to answer it now, or
Sure.
Is there a way to extract color data from a bitmap to save as a color preset?
Color data. Yeah, I think if you look at the output layer, would this show me the values? If I look at actual color. Yeah, so the fixture sheet is showing you the actual colors. That on the output, which is the value, right? So I guess if I select all of those, right? Grab all those. Now I'm in setup mode. I accidentally added a box in there. There we go. Select all those LEDs, please, please. We go to the fixture sheet. No, that didn't capture it that way. Do you know this, Ryan?
No, I don't. That was my guess. That was going to be my guess, though. Use output.
Yeah. Instead, you'd probably have to store them this way, which would be store output all for selected at executor 1. And do we have an executor there? Yeah, let's see if this works. So we're going to clear out and go. Yeah, there it is.
Boom. You can turn that into a preset.
Yeah, then you could extrapolate at that point and turn it into a preset. Well, you could have stored directly as a preset.
Yeah.
I just chose in that example to store to an executor. But in case you guys didn't catch that, you want to store the output all for selected is what I did, because I selected those LEDs, so that captures the output values, which, as you saw, were on the output layer. This little button was showing me what was outputting, captures the values. I threw them into the executor, obviously, but you can throw them into a preset as well.
Cool.
Magic. Is that cool? All right, a little taste of bitmaps, right? So join us on Thursday. You see that registration link is in your chat menu. Internal timecode generator, we're not actually outputting timecode from the desk itself, but our timecode slots can now generate a timecode. So, you have any good examples for why people use this, Ryan?
I've used it to, or you can use it to sync multiple timecode shows together without actually receiving a source.
Yeah. One thing is like, for example, the audio guy is sending you a timecode feed, which is fed into timecode slot 1. Well, all your timecode shows are referencing that, and then the audio guy goes to lunch. If you don't have your own timecode source set up, you're not going to be able to generate anything for you. Now you can just, be like, okay, I'm going to go timecode slot 1, and you can keep working on your shows a little bit. If you need to set a start point, I just right-click on that, but you can edit this, and you just set a start time and end time. You can even loop it. So if you have just, that's one example in preparing for a show. If you have a permanently installed show, for example, you just have an internal clock generator for multiple timecode shows. You don't have to have all these independent cue lists triggered by macros, etc. That's a nice little addition. Light mode and webremote for MA export nodes. Oh, wow, I can actually show this off. We actually have a node connected. Ryan, do you know the IP address of that node?
192.168.0.200.
Yeah, so in the I don't know, I'm going here. In the software, you normally set up your nodes right here. MANet2, set the DMX addresses, etc. Well, you could change it to ArtNet, SACN, etc. But what if you're a rental house and you send that node out to be used with another console that uses FACN? They might not have onPC. They might not have grandMA 2. So now, right from the web interface, you can jump in into that node. Admin, go to configuration, and you can set the mode and the XLR ports. Pretty neat. Split up executor CLI. Yeah, that's just a new setting that allows you to differentiate. You got the master section with the pause, go minus, and go plus. Regardless of what's in your command line, maybe you want that always to be a go button. So keep CLI off, and now you can hit go and leave the stuff in your command line. I'm not going to go through all these rules. We just improved some workflow. They're all identified here in the release notes. We improved some cloning workflow. There is a previous cloning webinar if you look at our existing Tech Talks. Somewhere here it is, yeah. So go ahead and watch the cloning webinar and then jump into these release notes to see what some of the new cloning rules are. Just some improvements to queue triggering.
That's another place where you can use the timecode emulator.
Yeah.
Recording your own.
Yeah, if you wanted to record your own queue list, you could just use the internal timecode generator. Big item here is some additions to our new webremote. So, in 3.1 we came out with a webremote. We now have playback view, executor sheet, preset pools, and added layers for timing. So I can show that to you. Webremote means any browser, laptop browser, Chromebook, iPhone, Android, Microsoft phone, etc. You just need a browser. You type in the IP address of the console. You were presented with the webremote. And, the old iOS app had a fixture sheet. It had all the buttons. What's new is now we have a real executor view. So now you can trigger your executors while you're trying to update your queues. We also get a queue list of the, I didn't select executor 30. If I select executor 30, now we can see the actual queue list. And what's really neat is that if you're actually in a queue already, so I'll hit go a couple times, the webremote shows up. World pool, macro pool, and you get all the presets here so you can update those as well. Now this is what we refer to as the iPhone view. If you're working on a laptop or tablet, click the blue title bar. You can jump to the screens quickly or go to settings and go to tablet view, which, if you have a bigger screen, really nice user-friendly experience to show everything. You get both command sections right there, and if you're in the preset pool, easy way to jump around. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Network switch configuration.
Can I jump in real quick? Can you plug a wireless router into the console to access the web remote?
Yeah. Same rules apply for wireless access point. Remember what? Not router. Access point. Configure it as an access point, just a wireless way to tap into your GrandMA 2 network. Right?
Yep.
Good. Network switch. So the MA network switch. Yeah, it's a very cool managed switch for sure. And what makes it even better, now in 3.2, you can configure it right from the console. So you may have seen network switch web interface. So this is just a regular network switch. Can work in any system in the world. Doesn't even need to be a lighting system. Can work with audio systems. Can work for, I mean, hell, it could be your home internet if you really wanted to. What we do, make it real user-friendly to make group VLANs. Each port has a colored LED on it, so you know which group VLAN you're in. So that's like the audio guys get these ports, the lighting guys get these ports. It keeps that traffic isolated, even though it runs it down the trunk line. And you get presets. So now right from the console, you could change this stuff on the fly under the network switch tab. We can edit those groups right from here. So rather than having to use the web interface, you could change it. So maybe this is my lighting group. Just change the name. And now the little colored display on the front of the switch says group 2 is actually lighting. Very cool. And I don't know if you guys caught it. The browser in the background, I updated from the console. It updates it in the browser. I love it. I love all this stuff. Just works. It's all integrated. So you can have lots of MA switches here. Configuration, little heartbeat tells you that there's actually MA traffic on that port. Whereas if port 7 and 8 were audio stuff on a different group VLAN, there'd be no little heartbeat. So really cool addition with the MA network switch. I think, yeah, MA3D had some small improvements. VPU had a big improvement. We'll probably do a whole VPU webinar in December. We have implemented the HAP codec, which supports, greater than 4K video. You can even get up to 8K. Theoretically, it could be more. It's just a codec. We have all three types of codecs, HAP1, HAP-Q, and particularly HAP alpha, which means you can have a alpha channel in your video files, so you can see what's behind that alpha channel. So that is a really wonderful addition to the VPU. Remember, in 3.1 we have the integrated pixel mapper, which means no need to deal with ArtNet merging, yada yada. It just handles it all automatically. No need to deal with double patching. If you've already patched all your LEDs in the console, guess what? Plug the VPU in, it already knows them. It knows their addresses. It even knows where they are located in 3D space, which means it automatically sets up the pixel map areas for you. I promise you, pixel mapping has never gotten so easy, and now we've simplified the codec component by moving to HAP, and we even have a built-in transcoder if you need it. So stay tuned for one of those, the VPU webinar coming up in December. And, well, I don't know. There's a whole lot of bugs and wishes that have been implemented, fixed, added here. So that's a little reading material for you. Ryan, you think of any we should point out?
Let's see.
We picked effects.
Yeah, effects.
Effect synchronization is working now.
That was a big one.
That was a bad one from 3.1.
Gel command?
Gel command implemented. I don't even know how that works. Do you know how it works?
Well, there's a predefined macro for it.
There's a predefined macro. I used to have a macro view here. How does that work? Gel? Gel. Is it under G?
Yep.
That's good. Gel. What does that do? Oh, manufacturer color. All right. Let's see. So I guess if you had a fixture there, if you guys are familiar with the swatch book, you have the gel manufacturer. So Roscoe would be 9. Actual gel color might be 172. So if I jump to my gel macro, 9, 172. I feel like that didn't work. That apparently doesn't exist. Oh, names?
Oh yeah, try Roscoe and then whatever the name of that gel is.
Interesting. We could call this by number as well. I don't know what the name of that gel. What's a Roscoe gel color? Don't memorize these things. Straw. I'm really failing with this. Why don't we do nothing?
Bastard Amber.
Yeah. Way to call something out, Ryan. It doesn't work.
Nice. Roscoe Lux is the name of the. Is that the actual name of the manufacturer?
All right, we're gonna try this one more time, and then you're gonna have to email tech support.
Roscoe Lux.
Roscoe Lux.
Bastard space Amber.
Hey, that worked. I know you can call those by number as well. I just don't remember the rules, but
it's in the release notes.
Yeah, it's in the release notes. What else is in here? You have any other ones you want me to look at before we jump into questions? There a lot of questions?
There's some.
Yeah. Okay, well, we better hurry up. Yeah.
Okay.
17 minutes left.
Is there an onPC setting that determines how my screen's open, like with which tabs I open it and so forth?
Yeah, absolutely. If you go to the command screen view of onPC, there's a big yellow ball up here. These are your onPC settings that only exist in onPC. Go to options. I am a big fan of single screen internal only. That means that for 2, 3, and 4 command, it's all one window, but external opens as a new window. Some people prefer single screen, so it's just these all toggle between one window in Windows, and if you have a computer with, for example, 4 monitors, then you're probably going to use multi-screen mode.
Cool. Why might my stage view, I'm presuming they're asking about 3D, not follow me into blind?
Because this needs to be logged in as the same user. So if I log in, hold blind, MA3D followed me into blind. Same with preview, it'll follow you, but it's not going to do that if it's not in your user, because hey, it doesn't know. There's a multi-user system, right? So we just go to setup. Mainnet control C. Well, first, sorry, I am logged in as user 2. That's just what we named it. I could have named it Will. And in the 3D list, you need to associate your 3D machine with the same user as your console. Then all will be Will. Okay.
If it still doesn't, you might need to double check that 3D is set to follow into blind. Functions? Tools? Yeah.
Yeah, there is this setting as well. Think selection, follow into blind, follow into preview.
Can you recommend any other software that somebody might want to learn along with Gramma 2, such as WYSIWYG, Vectorworks, anything else?
Well, let's see. My goal is to simplify my life, so I would definitely be learning Vectorworks because Vectorworks is the drafting tool. We don't provide drafting software because we do lighting control and visualization, not drafting. Therefore, learn Vectorworks and it will simplify your life because we have this handy thing called the Vectorworks plugin. You can learn all about it on our support tab, GrandMA 2. Vectorworks and MA. Basically, after you position all your fixtures in Vectorworks, including the channel ID and the patch address, you run our plugin, and it extracts that information, automatically patches your GrandMA 2, and automatically sets up your 3D. It doesn't get any easier than that.
And then, because it's already in 3D, it makes setting up your layouts for your bitmap fixture easy, pixel mapping.
That is totally true.
Boom.
We focus on streamlining the process from start to finish and not having to double up any work.
Cool. Let's see. Can I add presets to the smart window?
Presets to the smart window? Those are not presets. So no.
Okay.
Maybe I should clarify.
Yeah, maybe. That might help.
The smart window does not contain presets. I guess the question is related to these?
I would assume so, yeah.
What do you call those, Ryan?
I call those function sets.
Yeah, they're officially called function sets. What's a function set? Well, guess where I can learn this? In the Fixture Profile Encyclopedia. Where's Spencer? Let's give a call out to Spencer for writing this thing. Function sets. Adding function sets to your fixture profiles. So, those buttons are populated based on the fixture profile. So, adding buttons to the smart window, function sets, would be done via the fixture profile. You can do it in here. You can store to this empty block, but it potentially changes the real structure of your fixture profile, so we normally should sway away from that. And you shouldn't necessarily be programming from the smart window. Media servers, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Bitmap fixture makes a lot of sense, but if you're constantly coming here to grab red, this is not the correct way to program. You should be making a preset in the actual preset pool. If you want to recreate the experience of like having something dynamically follow you, having your presets dynamically follow you, I'd suggest the dynamic preset pool, which respects which preset type you're on, so you can quickly go from color to beam and get to those presets. Think I answered that all right, Ryan?
Yeah, I think so. Let's see. Is there a way to have an executor stay visible even if you move to a new page, and then when you turn the executor off, have it show you what's on the current page?
So you're getting frustrated that this running executor goes away when I change pages? Yeah, a lot of people get frustrated by that. There's this one setting that I'll first show you called fix. Okay, cool, fixes it there. I change pages, life is good. You see I'm on page 3. I turn off this executor, it's still fixed. What if we had this handy little function called autofix? Autofix is in the assign menu. I've enabled it. When I hit go, you see how it auto-fixes it. I change pages, I turn it off, it automatically unfixes. Isn't that exactly what you want?
I think that is, yeah.
How do these people come up with these questions? I love it when there's a question that like perfectly describes the function that we've implemented.
Yep. Is there a way to visualize half colors?
I don't think so. Right?
I think the trick is you would have to make an image that was a half color.
Yeah.
Currently.
We have the little split colors are showing up in the fixture sheet, but that's still a wish on MA3D. So if you're based in North America, you're welcome to email support@aclighting.com, and we can add that wish for you. Remember, only if you're based in North America, though. If you're anywhere else, contact your local distributor or contact MA International.
Let's see. Do you have any tips for making a random strobe look on fixtures that don't have a random strobe naturally or natively?
If it's a single fixture?
I think on a set of fixtures.
A set of fixtures is not too hard. It's actually in one of our previous webinars. Finding that exact one, I probably wouldn't at the moment. But
was it the effect webinar, maybe?
It probably, yeah, it would have been the effect webinar because this question comes up constantly. You're going to load predefined. You want to load a PWM. When I hit go on that, you're going to notice these just kind of go in order. What you want to do is you want to randomize those, so you shuffle the selection order. and then I think we'll go up to like 120 BPMs. And what you get now is that, yeah, it's not 100% true random, but nobody's going to notice with that many fixtures. And if you really want true random, that funny question with single fixture, you would build a chaser and utilize the random function. I think we covered a lot of this in our previous tech talks.
Could also use the bitmap fixture.
You could use the bitmap fixture. If you want to see some real random, join me on Thursday for the bitmap fixture. But I would urge you to check out this effects tech talk. Definitely covers random effects.
Let's see. Where can I learn about the possibilities of Lua in Gramma 2?
mashare.com.
.net.
Sorry, .net. The support teams are not doing the teaching and support for Lua scripts because that's an advanced developer function that was initially implemented for the developers at the factory. There are certain installations in the world that hire developers. These are not GrandMA 2 programmers. These are developers that work with the lighting team to create special functions for a particular installation.
Actually, I don't remember this one offhand. Are the fade and delay layers accessible on the web remote?
Yes. They specifically say that in the release notes too. Fixture sheet, fade, delay.
Cool. Why might fixtures with running effects jump when I edit a cue?
Because the effect is reasserted. So when you edit a cue, why don't we say edit Q2? Boom! Brings all this active information in the programmer. There's playback, one side, there's programmer, the other side. These are two different processes. So, when you pull all that information into your programmer, guess what? It restarts the effect.
Cool.
Same thing as hitting go on a cue.
Is it possible to put a delay time on a color with a macro?
Can you do it via syntax?
Yeah, I think so. Attribute at delay.
That would be for the person asking the question.
Oh, yeah.
If you can do it via syntax, then of course you can put it into a macro. I'm going to say red, and I'm going to say fade 5. Boom. 5 seconds applied to this. How does that work? When you say fade 5 or delay 5, it assumes that you're talking about the current feature, so the attributes that you see on your coders of the current selected fixtures. So here, if I want these ones to have a fade of 4 for RGB, then just say fade 4, and it applies it to the RGB, fade layer of RGB. So your macro line would be the same thing. You just look at your command line feedback window, you see it's fade 4. That's all you're putting in your macro. If you want a macro to ask you questions, then I would say fade what timing. And now, when I run that macro, I would say 3, and it applies fade 3. Boom.
Boom. What is the simplest way to change the default off time to something other than 0 seconds?
Default off time is something other than 0 seconds. By the way, I'm going to back up 1 second. That guy that asked about timing in a macro, there's a webinar about this. All those layers. That's a good one to watch. Did we have a timing webinar? I don't think we covered it all in all those layers. So definitely go back and watch that. Can you change the default off time for all your executors? Is that all the executors?
I want everything new I create to have 2-second off time. So I think so, yeah.
Well, this is your default off time, but that doesn't apply to everything new. Default off time, what it's doing is, with an executor, you open the queue list, you close it, you see the off time. It either references the default as shown in these settings right here, or it references a discrete time that you type in. 3 seconds, for example. There's a macro for this, assign executor 1.30 off time equals 5. See how it changed it to 5. If you're going to do this a lot, then you might want to create a macro for yourself that if you just use assign executor / off time, it will always assume the current selected executor. So your macro might ask you, what timing. So this exact syntax here, assign executor / off time equals what time, I'll say timing. It's going to get you a pop-up, it's going to ask you for a value, and it's going to apply that to the current selected executor. There is no way to retroactively do this in the defaults because of why I just explained.
Cool.
Got like 2 more minutes. You got some good questions?
Let's see here. I'm looking. Is there a way to edit filters through the command line?
No. If you're in North America and you want that to happen, send us an email to support@aclighting.com.
Is there any timeline on ArtNet 4 implementation?
We're talking about it.
All right. Let's see.
Why do I know the answers to all these questions?
Because you're Will Murphy? Can I take a show file from 3.1.2.5 straight to 3.2.2.13, or should I make an in-between step?
No, you should go straight. Anytime we do little bug fix releases, we improve the migrator that's built in. So only time you should step through softwares is major versions. 3.0 to 3.1, well, okay, if you want me to list the exact version. 3.0.05 to 3.1.2.5 to 3.2.2.13. Always major versions. We post this on our website, though, on the download section. So, oh, yeah, we do. There we go. Down in the corner here. We list off the numbers. So you're going to go straight.
I think we got most of them.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Okay, one more. We got one more on there? I think we answered all of them, but any more last minute ones coming in?
I think, no, not really.
Sometimes the way that
none that are fast.
Sometimes the way the questions get typed in, they get all convoluted and stuff with the way we read them. So we're like, what's it saying right there? So we're not ignoring your questions. We're just trying to comprehend what the question is. We always tell people in our classes, understanding this software is about knowing how to ask the right question. If you know how to ask the right question, you can always figure it out. But if you don't know how to ask the right question, you don't even know where to start looking in the help manual. So, all right. I hope that was a cool overview of 3.2. If you haven't already done so, you have 37 pages of reading to do. Recommend you go through it. It's part of the job. Being a programmer. A lot of really cool stuff. Remember, on Thursday we have our Bitmap webinar. And Tuesday is, you remember?
RDM?
You guys would have gotten a registration link in your email, and now I forgot what Tuesday's webinar is. Next Tuesday. But,
yeah, Tuesday's RDM.
All right, good. Next Tuesday is a little more in-depth how to really set up RDM and use it to its full capacity. Remember, if you would like to
subscribe, I think.
Can't remember our URL. Subscribe. Aclighting.com/subscribe. If you are not signed up yet, go to subscribe. Just your email address, first name, last name. Check off the box for webinars, and in particular Granimate 2 or v3.2, anything you're interested in, and this will restrict the notifications based on when these webinars happen. So if you're not already signed up for this, I suggest you do. I just chatted it to you so you can see that. And there you have it. This concludes today's webinar on 3.2 features overview. It's been a pleasure. Happy programming.
Happy programming.